art initiative that started in 2001.
Original contemporary art has been part of our DNA since 2001, when Nando's had to make the choice between being just another chain rolling out cloned restaurants with off-the-shelf deco, or creating something unique, something beautiful, and something meaningful. Nando's chose the latter and partnered with Spear Arts Trust to create not only a beautiful in-restaurant experience that encourages our customers to stay longer and visit more often, but also offers artists an opportunity to develop their talent, gain invaluable knowledge through critique and insight from professional curators, as well as potential space to showcase their work all around the world. With Nando's as an art patron and Spear Arts Trust as a curator and developer, a variety of art programs was established to help nurture and grow the careers of talented artists. It's not only just about the artists, but also about developing the artisans. The Spear Arts Academy specializes in manufacturing and installing collaborative artworks. Training in ceramic and mosaic mediums, artisans are offered a 3-year paid apprenticeship that includes tuition in business, theory, and art history. The Kubega Bead Studio collaborates with leading artists to translate their works into beautiful beaded creations. As with most creative endeavors, this creative initiative has exploded into many more creative collaborations, like the Basha Uhuru Freedom Festival at the Constitution Hill that celebrates our youth's freedom of expression. The Union Fair, which focuses on sourcing great works of art from the City of Gold. And our Nando's restaurants themselves even commission their own site-specific works of art. Our art is about more than decorating our restaurants. It's about the value that lies in creating beautiful spaces. Beautiful spaces that help African art cross social and cultural boundaries, thereby adding meaning, not just to what we do, but also the space in which we do it, both to our visitors and the creators of the art. Nando's Art, nurturing and showcasing Southern African creative talent.
So I actually have to say this again because it's something I'm really proud of as someone that works for Nando's. We're the largest collector of Southern African art in the world, with over 21,000 pieces of art. 21,000 pieces of art, can you imagine? It's displayed in 1,200 restaurants in 24 countries. So as we immerse ourselves in this world of Southern African art, alongside our desire to make eating at Nando's a really unique experience, we started to realize that our restaurants needed to look and feel different, to feel like Nando's. I mean, just look at where we came from. I mean, I was young, and this is where I used to eat. It's a bit scary. And then this is us today, right? It's quite amazing. Robbie and Fernando wanted us to go back to our roots, so we returned to Lawrenceville, where it all started. We rebuilt Central Kitchen, which was a palette of possibilities. The design of our new home was the beginning of a journey and partnership with South African designers. We went from our cookie cutter restaurants that all looked the same and fairly horrendous, to these uniquely beautiful, individualized experiences. Firstly, we started out relying on the expertise in shaping our spaces. Then we began to support their businesses by purchasing fittings, furniture, and design from them. We then realized how much bigger this could go by developing programs like our Hot Young Designer competition and the development of the design portal, which exports South African furniture and lighting to the rest of the Nando's world. That's actually how we ended up here, sponsoring the design category in one of the country's most celebrated creative awards. Again, we didn't actually set out to build a brand through design initiatives. What we wanted to do was nurture the local industry, and we wanted to highlight the quality of this world-class design that was coming out of Southern Africa, because it excites us. It actually is part of who we are and what our restaurants look like. You will hear more about these design programs and the incredible work that the designers do that we work with, and how these partnerships are built to be mutually beneficial from the speakers that are coming just straight after me. Our next investment in creativity is musicians. So again, music speaks to our Nando's soul. You will hear Afro-Luso music in our restaurants because this Mozambican-inspired genre resonates with our heritage. We even created our very own radio station, probably predictably, called Heatwave, which has become a really, really powerful internal communication platform, whilst doubling up as an Afro-Luso music station, so that our guests can become part of this unique Nando's experience. Then, and I'm quite sure you're starting to see a bit of a pattern here, we did see how what we were doing could become bigger than us. We recognized the potential of the South African music space and how we could help nurture it and share this with the rest of the world. And so we developed a partnership with Bridges for Music, which is an incredible academy in Langa, where we nurture talented local musicians in the business of music. We help them to grow their potential and expand their knowledge, and then, through our sponsorships and partners, we provide a platform for them to gain experience and showcase their talent. This was seen recently at Basho Huru, where DJs Odie, Eugenics, and Aztec performed. Some of them will actually go to London to work in our music exchange. I think it's going to be happening in about November this year, where they'll go and work alongside local and international artists to produce music. That will in turn get played on Heatwave and other radio stations. So through our work in supporting and nurturing and showcasing various creative arts, we've again, and here's that pattern, seen how much bigger it can be. Rather than keeping our creative programs running in silos, we create what we call creative collisions. These see the creativity being stimulated in various ways. So for example, at the Bridges for Music campus, we worked with design and art into the music environment. We've been firing up Basho Huru, South Africa's hottest creative gathering, for 3 years running, and we love seeing the energy of Mzansi's young creative talents coming together to learn, grow, and share. And coming soon to a Nando's restaurant near you, you will be introduced to our new crockery, which is another fantastic example of a creative collision. But I could stand here all day and talk about Nando's creativity, but I will wrap up shortly. so that I can hand over to 3 people who will give you some design insights and perspectives. But before that, I'd like to finish with the things that we've discovered, so that you possibly can apply some of these in your own context. First off, our biggest successes in building the Nando's brand hasn't been from making the most effort. It's come from a place of authenticity and courage. We didn't set out to make a Nando's creative brand or to build it through creative disciplines. We are creative, and so a creative brand has grown out of that. We simply followed what made sense for a brand that values the things that we value. In your organization, what is your compass? Are your brand values something that permeate the entire organization, from the CEO down to the floor staff and call center agents? Or are they actually just nice sounding words that you put on a website or on a wall in the office and never look at again? This should actually be your starting point. Who are you? And what do you stand for? Once you know what this heartbeat is, you can then be led by that into ideas that actually make sense for you. And the byproduct of that is the building of a brand that comes naturally. It will feel effortless. I know this probably sounds trite, but it is actually true. Seek to build your brand in a way that will benefit others. Yes, in business we are here to make money. And thinking of how you can put your resources to use in a way that actually creates a positive outcome outside of a balance sheet is one of the best ways to win your people over. Think of the brand value that ABSA and other banks bring to our sense of safety when we drive through the CBD of Johannesburg, through the deployment of their security guards along your route. I mean, it's kind of the way we drive, and I tell you, driving along Joe Slover, I do feel a lot safer now that the banks have put security guards there. Or of Dis-Chem, who started the quest to support teenage girls at schools by supplying sanitary products. These ideas came from asking, how can we better serve our customer? The branding element was actually second. So I come back to the title of this session. The best way to build a brand is not to try. Stick with what you set out to do. You could do a lot of different things and you can spread your resources really thin, or you can jump from one thing to the next. But what we discovered with our creative development programs is to actually commit for the long haul. The benefits are so much bigger for everyone involved. Finally, think about every single touch point, not just the media that your consumers and customers consume. What do your stores feel like? What emotions do your products spark in people? Apple is actually a famous example of this. I mean, you buy a Mac as much for what it stands for and how the design pleases you as for its technology. Design matters. Creativity matter. Your employees matter. So how are they experiencing your brand? Do your offices convey your brand values? Do your internal mailers give employees a reminder of why they choose to be part of your organization? There are a million different ways to build a brand. We've used art, design, and music as some of these along our way. But it has actually only worked because it's really true to who we are. So what makes your brand beat?
What makes a heart beat? An unforgettable moment that knocks you off your feet, that gets stuck in your head like a song on repeat. The fire and soul, turn up the heat. The brave and the bold, connecting the streets. It's the way that we roll. Nando's is me, where passion, courage, and integrity meet. Elevates my pride, I'm the best me I can be. It's the energy inside, true to you and to me. I am what I eat, and I call it being free to grow and explore and to being part of more. I'm the rhythm and beat, you can feel it for sure. As I'm reaching my peak, I will ask you once more. What makes a heart beat? Is it the way we connect when we smile and we greet? Sit down, relax, pull out a seat. I am what you need, I'm the tongue in the cheek. I'm a one of a kind, you can call me unique. It's the way that we care, the way that we speak. It's the way that we share, I'm your strength and your weak. I'm your hope when it's bleak. I'm the beat of the drum, the heart of the beat. I'm the thrill of the grill, I'm the courage you seek. A true family indeed, because Nando's is you. Yes, Nando's is me. I am the Nando's beat.
afternoon, everyone. Sorry, thank you for listening. Hi. My name is Malibongwe Kilo. I work as a journalist across lifestyle, design, culture, and arts. And today, so firstly, I've been working with Tracy Lynch, who is the creative director of the Nando's design program for about the last year and a half, primarily around documenting the work that Nando's does with designers and speaking to the different designers and watching how the program benefits both Nando's as well as the design companies themselves. One of the things we created is our annual print publication, which is called Clout, and basically it's also part every year we kind of look at design in a new way and what's important. Our first one was about showcasing the designer makers, and this one, our second one, which we launched about 2 weeks ago at 100% Design South Africa, we're looking at the business of design, so beyond the shop front, beyond Instagram likes, to actual businesses and what makes them tick. So today I'm going to be chatting to Tracy because she has been part of this program for 5 years now, about 5 years. So I'm going to chat to Tracy so she can share directly with everyone her experience to the program and how they built it and how they've got the buy-in of the entire business into it. It's quite an interesting story actually. I just want to show you these pictures you're going to see just now are images of the different restaurants around the world that have benefited from the program. Casas, as they are known within the Nando's ecosystem. If this thing would just play, great, thank you.
I couldn't stay.
Superb. You're still streaming live, and I just wanted to get you on a quick conversation. Unfortunately, I had a bit of a schoolboy error. I was muted right at the beginning.
Oh, sorry.
But this gives me an opportunity to ask you a couple of questions.
Cool.
How do you build a brand without trying?
I think building a brand without trying is really about being authentic and true to who you are. So as we discussed in there, it's about identifying what makes your organization tick and then doing that authentically. Not everybody, not every brand will be able to use or necessarily be able to use the kind of tactics that we do in art and design and music. Those are authentic to a feeling that Nando's is. But I think it's about identifying what your values are and then just being authentic about it.
And do you start with the leadership, or can this start right at employee level? Where does it start?
It's such a great question because I think it's got to be through your whole organization, but good leaders will lead an organization to want to be part of those values. I think a mistake that so many organizations make is that we say that we have values. Like every organization that I've worked for says we have values and they're great and they're on a wall, but nobody ever looks at them again and they don't live it.
Right.
You know, the difference in Nando's that I've learned is that you can actually call people out if they're not living our values.
Excellent.
And that's what's cool. Whether you are the CEO or whether you are an Nandoka that is a cleaner in our casas, you call people out against the values.
And keep it authentic.
Yeah, keep it real.
Yeah, I like that. And then where does the customer come into this? As you do your design, your creativity, where does the customer come into the thinking?
Well, I think so. Part of my portfolio is customer experience. I head up brand experience, and that is largely made up of how people within Nando's experience Nando's, and then how our customers experience Nando's. So whatever we create is always with the lens of people that work at Nando's and with the lens of how our customers will experience it. Nothing gets designed or decided on in isolation. Our customer is so important. Just as much as our Nandokas, the people that work in Nando's are our customers,
Yeah.
our customers are our family too.
Yeah.
In fact, it's so important in Nando's that it's even in our language, so we don't necessarily, externally refer to our restaurants as restaurants. We refer to them as casas, which is the Portuguese word for home.
Okay.
And we refer to managers, our restaurant managers, as patrons because they're the head of the home. And our Nandokas, which are part of a family, and our customers are part of that too.
Love
But
it.
again, keep it real.
Keep it real,
Keep
family
it real.
first, right?
Family first, absolutely.
Oh, wow. And then with the advent and the growth of digital technologies, how has the brand gone on to come alive on platforms?
So it's so interesting because I think You know, I actually was doing an interview last night and people were saying, well, how does Nando sometimes react to you when you can use a bit of satire and quite hard-hitting posts that we use our social media platform for. Or when a troll or somebody posts something, almost make it seem as though it's on our behalf. You know, it's so interesting. It's the first brand that I've worked on. We leave it up to our fans, and our fans take care of it.
They regulate.
Yeah, I mean, crisis communications is part of what I do as well, and it's so seldom that it gets into that where I've got in our manager from a crisis point of view.
Yeah.
It's our fans, our customers actually manage it for us.
They do.
So the growth of digital is hugely part of us. I think you've got to, as a brand, you've got to start looking at your social media and your digital marketing a lot more now.
Yeah.
It's a great space because it's so much more agile to actually do really quick tacticals that can support your brand. I remember being interviewed and somebody said to me, but how do you feel about when people copy and put out posts that look like a Nando's post?
Yeah.
I think our VI that I spoke about in the talk is so important because you can identify what is not done by Nando's and what is done by Nando's. We will look at these sort of troll posts and say, is it something that we would say? And then we'll put out a statement, or sometimes we leave it. In the interview, I was asked how I felt about that, and I said, you know, sometimes it's cool having a marketing department of 8 million people.
A marketing department with 8 million people.
Yeah.
So businesses cannot afford to ignore the digital platforms in terms of communicating and reaching.
Absolutely not.
Yeah. And of course the power of video. You're fantastic at the video thing. Do you find your static images and adverts work better than this video? What are you finding in terms of engagement?
I think it's almost a mixture of both.
Yeah.
I think when pieces of communication are used, one has to look at it as a single piece of communication. What is the target audience? What is the message that I want to get out? So I think there's an equal lens to it. Sometimes static works, sometimes a moving picture works. I think you can't just think, I'm going to create this piece of content and I'm going to try and use it everywhere.
Right.
You have to be specific about the communication that you're using.
Right.
Specific about your target audience, be specific about the platform.
How do you simplify social media policies? Because a lot of people don't get onto social media or encourage their employees to get onto social media because they're always worried about the trolls, the viral posts, etc. How do you simplify that message so that your employees take ownership of the brand and your employees run with what they feel is authentic?
Well, as much as our employees, they're our customers too. So what I love about Nando's, it's often rare that you work in a beautiful brand like Nando's that actually is often seen as the voice of the people. We belong to everybody. We belong to everyone, and that's, do you know what I mean? So, I mean, obviously, fundamentally, you've got to have strict social media policies on the underlying, because I can't have people posting photographs of back of house of a restaurant, because that is information that is just our information. So there have to be rules. I think there always have to be rules. But what happens within rules or guidelines, it gives you the freedom to be creative because you know how far you can go on either side.
Super. Lovely. Thank you very much for giving me time to talk about how you can build a brand without trying, and some of the things that you've learned over time. And of course, what I learned from you is that it's got to have social impact. If you really want this to go viral, if you really want to engage with your clients, it's got to be authentic and it's got to be your natural DNA.
Keep it real.
It can't be forced.
No, it can't be.
Excellent.
Thank you for the privilege.
All right.
Thank you.
Any last words?
Just keep it real.
Keep it real. Keep eating chicken.
Keep eating chicken. Keep eating Nando's PIRi-Peri chicken.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.
All right. Cheers now.
Thanks so much. Bye.
Bye.